For the greater part of the last 2 years, I've been living a lie. I've been a very inauthentic, disingenuous, and deceitful person. Whether I am outright lying to other people or lying by omission, I haven't been my true self for a couple years, and that's a long time to not be who you think you really are. I was binge drinking just about nightly for 2 years, and that takes a toll on someone's emotion. And the pain of living a lie as I get sober again and kind of trying to process what happened and how did I even get here, it's very uncomfortable. While I don't intuitively believe it, I'm having the emotional response of someone who doesn't like himself, someone who maybe hates himself, and someone who's very, very nervous about himself. And I want to talk about that in this video. When I was drinking just about daily, my whole life revolved around drinking. Getting alcohol, drinking alcohol, recovering from alcohol, and then somehow maintaining some sort of presence in other people's lives, some sort of persona maybe would be a more appropriate term in other people's lives. And that's exhausting. And one thing I found very quickly over the last 2 years of being an active alcoholic, as opposed to what I'm so thankful that I can say now, which is a recovering alcoholic who's sober and working a recovery program to address his alcoholism, is that I can't be honest with other people lest I sabotage my drinking. Lies and drinking go hand in hand for me. Being a liar to protect my drinking, being someone who omits the truth to protect my drinking, being someone who's disingenuous and deceitful to protect my drinking, it's had ripple effects on my identity in early sobriety. It's the weirdest thing. Because to a degree, when I was out binge drinking all the time and living that active alcoholic life, I still thought I knew who I was. But it's taken well into month 2 of being sober for me to get my head above water enough to look back and go, what the fuck was I doing? Like, what is even happening? How did this happen again? I feel raw. Being in active addiction is like being in the Matrix for me. It starts off familiar, warm, and comfortable, very colorful, being in the Matrix. And you don't really know you're there. You think you're in reality, but you're not. It kind of frightens me how detached I am from reality in active addiction. It makes me shudder. I can't stand it, really. I can't. And then I get sober, and the first month is like just trying to dry out for me. So my emotional awareness, my cognitive awareness, my mental clarity, it's really low. Understandably, given how much I drank, I'm withdrawing. I'm just clearing the cobwebs. But then somewhere in the last couple weeks, there's just been this like awareness of how lost I've been. And I suppose you could say this fear that I may get lost again, this sensitivity to everything that's been going on, and this realization that I haven't been living really. I've just been getting by, I guess. And I do sense that some part of me is dramatizing this, not necessarily for you, but within my own mind. It's overwhelming to feel all these feelings all at once, and I do think I have a propensity to get ahead of myself and to make more of this than maybe it is, but it feels so real to me. It feels so scary and confusing and upsetting, and it leads to a loss of identity. Who am I anyway? What is this all about anyway? How damaging has it been to be constantly behaving in a way that I don't actually constitutionally agree with? What are the repercussions of being a bad version of yourself, a sick version of yourself for a prolonged period of time? The early returns on that question are a lack of confidence. I'm grateful for my behavior, but boy, if you could jump in my head and assess my fragile confidence, it would be abundantly clear that I've been shell-shocked, I suppose, by being someone who's so lost in his addiction for so long. This also makes me realize I'm not cut out for this. Like, I don't have necessarily the greatest pain threshold. And I think I'm gaining some awareness as to how much it hurts to realize you've kind of been, for lack of better words, a piece of shit for a while. It hurts to realize that about yourself, and I'm being reminded of how important it is that I don't reflect negatively on myself to the point that I get lost in despair. I do believe I was a sick person in his disease, doing the best he could, and I made some bad choices, and I became dangerously selfish and self-centered for sure, as many addicts and alcoholics are. But that wasn't the true me. That was a sick me doing the best he could, and to have some grace and understanding for myself, which I do. I mean that. But it's not one of those things that my intuition can just translate directly into positive affect and emotion. Be it caused by a recovering brain chemistry, be it a recovering sense of self. But I can't just think, hey, you're a good person, and necessarily feel good on a day-to-day basis, because my credibility is still not great. Having spent so much more time in active addiction relative to how long I've been living and behaving and acting in a way that I actually can feel good about, the scales are not tipped evenly yet. And so I think it's going to take some time for me to trust this version of myself that is sincerely trying to be better, because I can't deal with this. I don't like this. I mean, I am dealing with it, but I don't like it. I don't like coming face to face with the harsh reality of what active addiction looks like for me, and the way I thought and the way I behaved and some of the things that I did. And just this realization that my life was just flashing before my eyes, just wasting my life getting drunk and then recovering from it. What am I doing today to right this wrong, to straighten out, to feel better and to be better? I think it would be important to talk about that to close this video. I do admit that I really enjoy painting a colorful picture of misery, because I think when I was in my active addiction videos like this, I kind of commiserated more and connected more with the darkness, with the sadness, with the trials and the tribulations of active addiction. I wanted to identify with someone who could prove to me that they knew dark spaces, and so I may be overly enveloped in this idea that I want you to know just how bad it was and how raw and vulnerable I am as a human being who has this issue. But my life has been much, much better since getting sober. Very uncomfortable at times, but so much better, particularly the last couple weeks, I'd say. And so what I'm doing to fight and fend off this self-hatred, to improve my self-esteem, is consistently behaving in a way that's esteemable. Making choices and focusing more on my actions, not my thoughts. That's, when assessed at the end of the day, I don't shudder at. I don't feel a negative emotion towards my behavior. I can look in the mirror and be content with my choices. Be action-based. Let my feet take me where my mind will follow. I don't necessarily think I can trust my thoughts, but I do trust my leadership, and I do trust my support team, and I do trust all the people that have gone before me, that have felt this weird, insecure, scared down feeling, these anxious thoughts, this obsession, that have felt what it feels like to get sober again, kind of unplug from the matrix and realize like how gray and weird things have been, even though I've been waltzing around like everything was okay when it wasn't. I can follow their leadership, and I've been so beaten up the last couple of years and experienced such a loss of pride that I do believe I'm starting to have what I've read to be a form of ego death in a way that can be useful. So my biggest goal right now is to act as if, behave as someone who has values, has morals, has a guiding star, I guess you could say, and it is helping. It is helping. No matter how insecure my thoughts might get or how suddenly uncomfortable between my ears I might feel, I don't have any shame for my behavior the last couple months since getting sober. And that's an incredible gift for someone like me, someone who's becoming aware once more at how sensitive I am and how important it is for a guy like me to live in a way that I can be proud of, just to be okay in my own skin and to navigate whatever this is, this life that we're in. I'm really focusing on doing the next right thing. And when I don't know what to do, I ask for help. I don't assume. And I'm keeping drugs and alcohol out of my system so I can heal. And I'm going to bed and I'm taking inventory of my day to make sure that I am who I think I am. And then I'm just having a little bit of faith, and I'm leaning on the faith of others. That's my video. That's what I wanted to talk about today. I really appreciate you guys being here, letting me just process. This is therapy for me. I have no advice for you. I don't. This is just what's going on with me and how I'm navigating early sobriety and just getting to know myself and the ups and downs that are in my life. But I'm a grateful person today. Things are going really well compared to where they were. And I have hope today. And that is something I didn't have at all. A life of any hope seemed impossibly far away. And if you're someone like me, you never know when you're going to get that crack again. You never know when that's going to be available to you again, because addiction is wildly unpredictable for a guy like me. One angry, emotional, scared night of drinking could turn into 2 years of being back out in active addiction that was increasingly getting worse. So I am thankful, and I have bright spots galore. And my problems today are problems that I could only dream of being able to have in addiction. That back then it was just, God, please don't let me drink today. Please, God, Noah, don't get drunk today. Please don't do it. Boom, I would do it. And that's just where I lived for ever. So that's my truth for today. That's where I'm at. Thank you for listening. Please, in the comments below, join this conversation. Just talk to me about yourself. What are you experiencing? What are you going through? What's working? What's not? What are some of your bright spots? What are some of your hard spots? It's okay to be honest about these things. I'm always open, by the way, to anyone who's still here. I'm always open to video ideas. I'm sort of doing all of this off of just instinct, which is okay. So if you have video ideas, holla at your boy. And be nice to yourself. Take care of yourself. 1 day, 1 hour, 1 minute at a time. We can get through what we're going through, and we can do it together. I promise. I can't do this alone. I don't think any of us are designed to do whatever we're facing alone. And I don't think we are alone, no matter how lonely we might feel. So be brave. Stay connected. And know that I value you. Thanks, guys.